Hi everyone! Between August 26, 1946 and late February 1947, approximately 1 year after Germany surrendered at the close of World War II, Rear Admiral Richard Byrd led an expedition to Antarctica called Operation Highjump. Now, at the time, the United States had spent a lot of money on World War II. The end of the war would normally be considered a time to close down military activities, consolidate gains, save cash, and so on. But this expedition to Antarctica involved tremendous resources. Those resources were called Task Force 68, and it involved 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and nearly 5,000 men. And that included destroyers, a submarine, an aircraft carrier, icebreakers, a tanker, supply ships, the works. Now, the stated reason for the task force to Antarctica was to gather data, to explore, to see if it was possible to design air bases in that cold location and that type of thing, sort of National Geographic on steroids. But friends, you don't need 13 military ships, 33 military aircraft, and nearly 5,000 military personnel to do that, especially for an inhospitable location that you don't know much about. I can see 1 or 2 ships and a couple of aircraft to check out the scene, but an entire armada armed to the teeth doesn't seem to match the stated goals of the expedition. At least to me, Admiral Byrd's expedition to Antarctica just doesn't seem to make sense if there was no urgent military reason to go there at the time. Indeed, you simply do not send that type of very expensive military force into a dangerous area like Antarctica unless you have solid intelligence suggesting that there is a clear and urgent need to do so. It just would not happen. It just wouldn't.
Areas kind of spread out underneath this structure. So the structure, looks this big on the outside, but then inside the structure, there's a way to get down into like these kind of hidden areas and down inside the structure.
What you are about to see firsthand is a revision of the mainstream account of history. We are going to show you data that will explain more than one unexplained mystery involving the Nazis, the U.S. military, and Antarctica. What we are about to show you will explain why Admiral Byrd really led that expedition to Antarctica, what happened when he did it, and ultimately, why U.S. presidents eventually made a very bad deal by allowing certain extraterrestrial groups to establish an official presence on, or perhaps I should say underneath, U.S. soil.
It's weird. This seems like, I haven't mentioned it, but this seems like, I think I should mention it now. Almost everyone here is blonde and Caucasian looking. They just all look really, really blonde and have very light skin. And usually I just wouldn't mention it, but this is like a strikingly large amount of blonde people. Not just here, these 3 guys, but I'm talking about everyone. Like a lot of the guys in the hangar, a lot of the guys in the non-surface structure. It's not everyone. I mean, I see like some people who aren't blonde, but it's just like a very, very large number of blonde people.
Well, to start to unravel this mystery, most of us have heard rumors about Nazis experimenting with disc-shaped aircraft by the end of World War II. There have also been rumors of Nazis establishing at least one base in Antarctica, a location where research could go on without interference from Allied forces. The Nazis did indeed like to have backup plans in case things went wrong, which is why so many Nazis fled to South America after the war. The smoothness and rapidness with which that happened suggests that arrangements had been made well in advance for this type of last-minute escape plan. It also makes sense that those fleeing Nazis would have wanted to be close to some type of Nazi military presence, just in case.
The structures are not easily visible from the base surface. I had to kind of jump up and look down, and there are these structures below. They're below the base surface. They're not formatted on top of the surface like that I'm standing on. They're kind of like underneath me, in a sense. There's a sizable collection. There's a lot of them like just underneath me. Factory, I don't know what it is, some type of facility.
So, a remote viewing target was designed, one that simply said, the most advanced Nazi base in Antarctica circa the end of World War II. Now, if the most advanced Nazi base was simply a fishing boat that may have run ashore, then that is what we would have gotten. We know that the Nazis did in fact have numerous military boats that went down south in that direction, since some of them got into trouble with the weather and had to dock in the southern parts of South America. And we know that the Nazis did send some expeditions to Antarctica for a variety of reasons, including the hope of establishing a presence there of some sort, as was done, for example, by the German explorer Alfred Rischer, who led an expedition of Nazi soldiers in Antarctica in 1938.
From looking from a far view of below, the ground is like under this whole cold, snowy place. I'm seeing these long hallways. Looks like they take you all around this area. And it's very long and very dull lights in here.
Well, after I obtained the remote viewing data from our viewers for the first target of this project, and remember that only I knew that the target was the most advanced Nazi base in Antarctica circa the end of World War II, I then designed the second target, since it was clear that the second target needed to pull pieces together given what we found out from the results of the first target. You see, what we found out is that there was a huge Nazi presence in Antarctica at the end of World War II. Moreover, they had help, extraterrestrial help, and in fact very surprising extraterrestrial help. Clearly the Nazis could not have established a powerful military presence in Antarctica without outside assistance. The environment was just too inhospitable, so they got help. But we ultimately found out that they got help from two very different extraterrestrial groups.
Things kind of in the sky, they look like, almost like arrows pointing this way, like this. But when I probe them, they don't feel solid, so they feel kind of like a laser or something, you know what I mean? Like lasers. And so that's what I'm hearing here, a lot of man-made sounds. I see these lasers in the sky kind of coming down.
After the data for Target 1 was in hand, I designed the second target for this project, and Target 2 is the most significant battle between the Nazi forces in Antarctica and U.S. forces circa the end of World War II or after.
This guy's not a human. The top commander for their side of things, he is not a human at all. He is a dinosaur face looking guy, very fierce and looking face. So let's draw some teeth. And he's huge. Like, he's just another one of those really, really big reptile people. Like, he's a huge, huge reptile person. So these are the top commanders. This is a war, this is a battle, and it's between this guy and that guy. And these are their forces. Airplane-looking things, and boomerang-looking things, and uniform, immaculate living room discs. Best way I can describe these things. And these guys are way faster.
It finally made sense why Admiral Byrd went to Antarctica with such a large military presence. He was expecting a fight, and as you will soon see, boy did he get one.
There's a lot happening. This war, battle, attack, shooting, other groups. It seems like one side seems to be getting attacked, the other opposing side seems to be attacking or protecting. I see something protection, defense, but they were not. The side that's getting attacked, they were ready, like they were ready for protection and defense, but they didn't seem to be ready for this. There's like a laser attack going on here. I see there are subjects running and darting lasers. Subjects are getting disintegrated. Like, there's a lot happening here. It's almost unrealistic, like something you'd see in a movie. If the opposing side has non-surface structures, there's not many. They're managing and they're fighting. They have the capability. Like, they're putting up a good fight, but they are also getting disintegrated.
But the Nazis did offer the reptilians a real opportunity that they could not turn down. You see, by helping the Nazis with their Antarctica base, they gained two things. First, they gained a small but dependable slave military force that they could dispatch wherever they wanted, even off-planet in the future. But second, and this is the really important part, they could scare the daylights out of the American military and political leadership. You see, it was clear at the end of the Antarctica battle that the Nazis could use their new aircraft and weapons to challenge the entire U.S. military. Indeed, the U.S. military would be powerless against such a technological advantage.
But they lose poorly. They lose this battle very, very poorly. It's like they didn't have a chance. There are subjects, for Subject 2, the subjects that he controls with his mind are inside of non-surface structures above that are emitting zapping energetics towards the base below. Those non-surface structures that Subject 2 controls, they're not shaped like airplanes at all. They're shaped like prisms. They're shaped weirdly like discs, prisms, and they need more energy. It's like really hard for them to stay up there, but the energy and power that they have for the short period of time is because of Subject 2, the leader. The leader gives them energy. It's like they're emitting energetics because they're being mind controlled.
Why then did the Nazis not actually do it? Why did they not actually invade the continental United States and blow the U.S. military out of the water, so to speak? Well, it's simple. Their reptilian allies did not allow it. The reptilians didn't want the Nazis to control anything. They just wanted the U.S. military and political leadership to be so frightened that they would agree to absolutely anything in order to get some of that advanced technology. And that, my friends, explains what happened in our last major mysteries project, presidential meetings with extraterrestrials. What the reptilians wanted and needed was for there to be a legal agreement between them and the United States government that would allow them to operate without restraint on or under U.S. soil. According to our data, it worked. The U.S. signed the agreement giving the reptilians formal access to U.S. soil and the U.S. citizenry, all in exchange for promises of help with advanced ET tech, promises that were apparently never fulfilled. Basically, the U.S. got shafted.